So, where are you going to retire? If you're planning on staying where you are, that's great. But if you are thinking about moving somewhere else, I ask you that you consider these 5 points that I'm making in this video to help you make your decision. So point number 1 has to do with the cost of living, which is the most important decision that you need to consider. So think about how you prefer and like to spend your time. Do you like to go out to movies, spend time with your friends, have club memberships, and figure out what those costs are going to be in your new location if you're thinking about moving. Next up is to review your basic housing expenses. So think of the things that are most important, whether if you still have a mortgage or if you have property taxes, your HOA fees, your utilities. Also, don't forget to include the cost of gas for your car as well as groceries. The cost for all of these things are going to vary quite a bit depending on the area that you pick. Another important item in this category is also to think about your healthcare costs. So think about the things that are not covered by insurance. You're going to have costs for your prescriptions, also out of pocket and over the counter drugs that you may be purchasing, your co-pays, your deductibles, also things like vision, your glasses, your exam, as well as your dental care, which is going to be a big expense. And also think about other services that are typically not covered by insurance, but also are important for overall well-being. It could be membership to the gym. It could also be going to your chiropractor or getting a massage. Point number 2 is let's talk about taxes. Taxes that pertain to the state that you live in and other important things. I have a really great maps to share with you. So the first one is let's talk about taxation on Social Security. 41 out of 50 states don't tax Social Security. The states of Missouri and Nebraska decided to stop taxation on Social Security actually this year in 2024. If you receive military retirement pay, there are 9 states that don't tax military retirement benefits and 26 other states that have really great exemption programs. Only the state of California is going to be taxing military benefits based on their standard state rates. And there are 9 states overall that don't have a state income tax. Here they are: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. This is, of course, great news. A lot of people also tend to focus on these states, but what I want you to be mindful about is the fact that if they're not having a state income tax, the state is going to get their money somewhere one way or the other. So just be mindful when you're doing your research and seeing where are some of those other expenses that may be coming up that maybe you're not aware of. If you're planning on living abroad, just remember that you still have to file your income taxes every year, and just be mindful about that. Point number 3 is let's talk about climate. Yes, it's a big one, an important one. Depending on what's important to you, whether you really like 4 seasons or you really like milder climates, I have a great ideas for you here as well. So if you are tired of the snow and the cold weather, you may want to consider the states in the southern belt where the climate is milder and it's warmer majority time of the year. If you love fishing and boating, then consider a location near a river or a beach. If you've always been drawn to mountains and hiking and fresh air, there are 9 states in the United States that have mountains that you may want to consider out in the West. So the reason why climate is so important is because it's so important in your retirement to stay active. What we talk about is being active for at least 30 minutes a day, if not more. So if you are going to be more motivated to be active in a milder climate, then that should be one of your top considerations. So just food for thought. Point number 4 is travel plans. As you guys know, it's a very important category that I place a high kind of like asterisks to, and I want you to really think about it that way too. A few points here to consider are these. Number 1, how close do you want to be next to your family or your friends? Can you reach them by car? Because then you need a good, reliable car, and you just need to be mindful about the maintenance and the gas costs. If you're going to fly and you're okay with that, you need to consider the costs and how often are you planning on making those trips. And if that is important to you, do you have an airport nearby that is going to be convenient for you to make these trips? And another point here for travel is creating a meaningful bucket list. I really did a really good YouTube live recently on talking about it, is where you focus on a couple of different categories of creating a list for you of what you want to do, especially in your retirement, and you focus on things that you want to do personally, things that perhaps you want to do with your family, friends, and also the contributions that you want to make for the community. Point number 5 is very important, is where you take everything that we talked about, all of these points that are food for thought, and you create a list of your 5 places, your 5 top destinations potentially. Or it could be less, or it could be more. It's up to you. My suggestion is for you to spend several weeks in these destinations so that way you can see what you think and how you feel about them. Another good idea is for you to not only go to these destinations when it's a good weather and it's sunny and everybody's happy, but also spend some time when it's cold and dreary, just to see how you feel about it and what you like and what you don't like. Take advantage of staying at an Airbnb where you can actually rent a whole condo or townhouse or a home versus staying in the hotel, because this is really going to give you an experience of truly living somewhere, being able to use the kitchen and cooking and doing laundry, and either going out and experiencing everything that the location has to offer, or just staying in for some quiet time. Head out and find some community activities, fairs, and things to do. Talk to the locals and just kind of immerse yourself in the local scene and see what you think. And then when you're back, kind of evaluate your pros and cons on your list and then make a decision if it's still something that should stay in your top list, or maybe it's not any longer. And my bonus tip for you today is to make sure that wherever you decide to head to is that you have an ability to make new friends and have social interactions, because that doing so is extremely important to your emotional and physical well-being. And here's a couple things that you can consider. Don't just cross off retirement communities. A lot of them are like independent 55 plus, have really robust events and general community activities, as well as gyms and pools and lots of things that you can do if you want to have that social circle. But also if you don't want to, some of the times you can just stay in your home. Also, don't forget to check out senior centers, as well as some other senior focused communities and groups that offer a really good variety of things that you can do, like hobbies that you can immerse yourself into. And guess what? If there's nothing there, or the group doesn't exist in the area where you want to be, nothing is going to stop you from creating that group yourself, spearheading it, and getting other people involved. So how are you making out with your decision where to retire? Are you struggling, or are you having a really good progress? Please post your questions and your comments and your progress report in here right under this video, so that way all of us can help you, cheer you out, and just be there for you to help you make the best decision possible for your retirement.